absolutely ridiculous. They'll believe anything. They'll believe anything. Right, welcome back everybody to another beautiful Saturday afternoon in Taiwan. And yeah, we've prepared some really great topics to talk to you about today. Hope you're going to enjoy them. And yeah, hope it provokes some discussion. So Abby, how are you?
Yeah, great.
Life's good?
Yeah, todo bien.
Yeah, it's nice to be in Taiwan, right?
Sí. No, I started talking in Spanish. Yeah, it's really good being in Taiwan because we can see lots of lockdowns in European.
In other countries, yeah.
Especially the lockdown on Christmas.
So, but before we get into any of that, let's quickly tell everybody what they need to do, right? Which is, please like, share, and subscribe.
Definitely.
You know, we're really putting a lot of time into this so that we can help people to, you know, especially people in Taiwan, just to learn about some of these issues. And yeah, if you think you hear anything that you like, please share it with a friend. It would really help us. And the more you help us, the more we can give back to you guys. So yeah, please like, share, and subscribe. In Chinese?
Yeah. 如果你喜欢我们的影片的话，请帮我们按赞跟分享，还有订阅，这样可以帮助我们，然后这样也可以算是支持我们的一种方式哦。
按赞, right?
按赞。
And the next one?
按赞。
分享
share.
I gotta learn how to say this.
订阅
sounds like
subscribe.
Sounds like order food.
Order food?
Ding.
No,
it's ding wei, which is like book a table. So,
I know.
So as you can guess, my Chinese is horrible. Right.
You can try to say 按赞分享订阅吗? You can try.
按赞分享订阅
Yeah.
Okay, I'll learn it, right. Good. But anyway, let's just get right back into this. So the title of what first thing we want to talk about today is, when will we be able to travel?
I'm dying for being
me too,
abroad.
Right? Me
really.
too. So, yeah, I think that a lot of people in Taiwan, we're all dying to travel.
Yes.
I think possibly for us, it's because things have been relatively quiet for a while. So
quiet? What does it mean?
I mean, with the virus, right? I mean, we haven't
because
had
in Taiwan we had the 0 cases.
We've had 0 cases for a while.
Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, you know, as people get used to, the kind of complacency comes in and we want to travel. But it's very important for us to have a look at what's happening in the rest of the world, that we can see when we think this might happen.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you a question, Abby. Like, for Taiwanese people, what do you think the common thinking is? Like, when are we going to be able to travel?
When?
Yeah, just from the people you've talked to and just what you know of just the common opinion. What do you think most people believe?
I think they want to travel before next year, season 1. No, before March.
Okay, that's when they want to travel. But my
Yeah.
question is more, what's the thinking about what needs to happen before we can travel again?
I think maybe the vaccine dose percentage.
Okay.
I think so.
What is the current thinking about that?
Because if a lot of countries they already have the certain dose percentage, or they have the lower cases, so they are more willing to open a border. The border.
So what are the numbers that you think will be acceptable? What have you heard? Like, what do people talk about?
The cases number. Oh no, we don't really talk about numbers.
Like the percentage of the vaccine. Like, what percentage do we need to reach before people believe we can travel?
I think that around 60 to 70.
Okay, so I think that, what is that? First dose, second dose?
Second dose, like fully vaccinated.
Okay, so we need to get into the 70% fully vaccinated, roughly.
Roughly.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So how can we check or test if we think that that's valid, if that's really true?
Look at the example from other countries.
I think so. So let's do that now quickly. So I've actually already prepared this for you guys. I've had a look this morning, opened a few tabs up on my computer so we can go through this, right? So a lot of people might not know or might know that Europe's currently going through quite a rise in cases. So let's have a look here. The first country I want to look at is the Netherlands. And as you can see there, Abby,
the higher cases.
The cases are the highest they've ever been.
Yeah. Okay.
And what is the vaccination rate there? So you can see here it's 72.3.
Fully vaccinated, 72.3%. 7.3%.
Sure, but I also checked that if you look at the adult population, because you have to remove some of the kids, I think it's like late 80s.
80.
Yeah.
It's really
So it's quite high, right?
quite high, yeah.
Because you have to remove all the very young people from those numbers. So as we can see there, Netherlands cases at all-time highs, right? Let's look at Germany. What do you see there, Abby?
Oh, yeah, it's also all-time high.
All-time high. Let's look at the
Has never been.
vaccinations. Looks very similar to Netherlands, right? Yeah, so
All right.
67.5. So we're probably guessing that must be like mid to late 70s if we're looking at total adult population. Possibly. That's just a guess,
Possible.
but possibly, right? Let's look at Iceland. So Iceland, new cases. Also, again, at an all-time high. And vaccinations,
Whoa.
76.4. So pretty high, right? Fully vaccinated. Let's look at France. So France is not all-time highs, but
It's just okay, but it's a little bit
it's
rising.
on it's going up, right? Okay, and vaccinations for France. So around
around 70.
yeah, 69, 70%. I also wanted to have a look at Portugal because Portugal is pretty interesting. So if you have a look at Portugal here, you can see that it is starting to go up. Okay, which is interesting. And I wanted to show you something about Portugal as well. In Portugal, according to this article, there's virtually no one left to vaccinate. So they've done a really amazing job getting people to get the vaccination. So I think that there's hardly anybody left, unless you're looking at the really young people.
That's because their population is lower, so they can have the
So you can see here,
100%.
yeah, it says about 98% of those eligible, okay, which means anyone over 12
Okay.
has had the vaccine.
That's
So 98%, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
really high.
It's really high. And look at what the news says about Portugal. It says that they're warning COVID restrictions might be coming back before
Why were they
Christmas.
going to put back to the restrictions? Looks like their cases are lower.
I think it's because of what's happening in the rest of Europe, and also because their cases
They're worried
are
about
going
they're
up.
moving around and
I think it's more just a trend. Is that so many European countries have huge spikes, like we saw with Germany and Netherlands and France, that they're seeing their cases go up, and I think that they're worried because you can see there they already have like 1,700 new cases.
They're worried
just
they're gonna copy
days.
their pattern.
Yeah, and that's a place that's like basically 98% vaccinated, right? As it says in that article. Then there is another place that's also pretty interesting for us to look at, which is Gibraltar. Gibraltar.
Where is that?
It's well, let's have a look. We'll look at it in a minute, but it's a small country, from what I understand, and their vaccination rate is 118% or 116%. Sounds strange, right? What that means is the people who live there are 100% fully vaccinated, and they have some people, I think, who cross the border every day, and those people are also fully vaccinated. So it's basically 100%.
Right.
And if you look at Gibraltar, you see here that their cases are not all-time highs, but are on the way there, it looks like. But for them, obviously, that spike means 59 cases a day, just because they have a very small population. So I think if we're trying to look where Gibraltar is, you can see there it's kind of where Africa and Europe join each other, right? Like right there by the bottom of Spain. So Gibraltar, from the news, has actually recently just cancelled Christmas.
Oh.
Okay. It's the most vaccinated place in the entire world, and the restrictions are coming back, and they're cancelling Christmas. So what does this mean for people? What do you think when you hear all these numbers?
I mean, I think the vaccine couldn't get back us to the normal life.
Yeah, I think
because that's original purpose for we want, right? We want to get vaccine, then so we are protected. So it's much safer to go back to normal life.
Sure.
But look at a lot other countries, what they do, they just lock down again and cancel the traveling. I mean, they cancel the Christmas because they don't want people to move and travel at a time, right?
Sure. So earlier this
why?
week, do you know Austria, the country? So Austria this week, at the beginning of the week, they had a new lockdown, but only for unvaccinated people. But then 3 days later, they changed that to a full lockdown for everybody. I think it's for 3 weeks because the cases just keep going up. So that's Austria. I think Germany has also said that possibly they might have restrictions coming in. I'm not sure if they've made a decision yet. But look, we're not trying to say if the vaccine is effective, isn't effective. We're not giving anybody advice. All we're doing is just trying to look at the news and just see what's happening. And I think what we can see is happening is that even though many places have really high vaccinations, cases are going up and restrictions seem to be slowly coming back. I think so, right?
Yeah.
You can say that.
I think that from most people believe is like even they already know like if you get vaccine you still can spray the virus, but at a time you can lower your symptoms, so make the virus more similar to flu.
Okay.
So that's why people think we can go back to normal life. But right now, cases going up since like is expected, right? Unless they have a really serious symptom or severe symptom, so that's why they want to like lock down, or maybe they have the hospital like how's say overwhelmed.
Yes.
But since I don't really heard about this kind of news.
So I'm just searching now because I heard this yesterday. So I know Ireland.
Hospitalization?
Ireland, right? So
yeah.
Ireland has had a big upswing in cases. I think they're also very highly vaccinated. And I'm sure I heard somewhere that the hospitals are starting to get full. Yeah. So, yeah, we can have a look here. Yeah, 643 patients in hospital, 118 in ICU.
Oh, okay.
So there definitely are places where...
So it looks like the vaccine couldn't really... I don't know. But it looks like the symptoms is now really
Sure.
lower.
Well, actually, I'm glad that you asked that because I don't think you should ask me this question. I think what we should do is is to listen to someone who's in authority. You know, I think YouTube would like that.
Yes.
It's that we're not saying anything.
Yes.
So how about the British Prime Minister, Boris Johnson?
Okay.
I think what we should do is we should just listen to him. And I'm going to show you the video clip. But first, let me show you this. So this is from the news. This is from the Epoch Times. And what they're saying here is that British people will need 3 jabs to be considered fully vaccinated.
Okay.
So just before I play it, let's just get back to what we were saying. Our basic thing we're talking about is when will we be able to travel? So we said people believe that once they've had 2 vaccines, they'll be able to. So what if the definition of fully vaccinated now changes? People won't need 2 anymore. They're going to need 3.
Yeah, but how do they guarantee like 3 is okay, right?
Look,
we don't know.
But we're
just
not
like
really talking about that. I mean,
right.
we're not scientists. We don't know if the vaccine will or won't work in that way. But here is an example, as you can see, that British people are going to need 3 doses to be considered fully vaccinated. So that means if you've had 2, I'm guessing after some time, you'll be considered not fully vaccinated. And I'm sure travel, if it's allowed, which a big if, it's going to be for people who are fully vaccinated.
Oh, okay.
So back to Taiwan, people I think should be aware of this, that it looks like, just from what we're seeing, to be able to travel, you're going to need to be fully vaccinated. And that might change.
The definition of fully vaccinated changed.
It looks like it's changing, right?
Before we think... sorry.
That's okay.
Before we think like 2 is okay, then we can like go back to normal life and the symptom will be lower. But since it's not, so right now, like British ask for like 3 jabs, like another level.
And as you just said, people thought you have 2, you go back to normal life. From all those examples that we just showed you, I think you can see quite clearly that those people are not going back to life. The places, go back to normal life. Those places have high vaccination rates, and it seems, that to look like restrictions are coming back or possibly coming back. That doesn't seem like normal life to me. And if it's not normal life, travel?
I think that need to be waiting.
Yeah. So let's listen to Boris and see some of the things that he says, and you can comment, okay?
Let me explain why that booster is absolutely crucial. Because over time, the protection from 2 jabs starts to wane. But that third jab boosts protection back up to over 90% against systematic infection.
Right. Okay. So there's an interesting word I think that people in Taiwan should know, which is wane, W-A-N-E. So what he said, and you'll also see it's here, he says it's on boosters, it's very clear that getting 3 jabs, will become an important fact. Okay. We have to adjust our concept of what constitutes a full vaccination. And here's the one that I just played. As we can see from what's happening, the 2 jabs do start to wane. Now, that word wane means to go down.
Mm-hmm.
So you asked the question, or you were starting to talk about it, which is, the symptoms, right? People believe that the vaccine protects you from symptoms, which it looks like it does, but it looks like that goes down with time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not from us. Okay, YouTube, we didn't say that. Boris said that. And we just showed everybody that Boris is the one saying this. And obviously he must be talking to scientists, right? He's not just giving his own opinion. He's been
Talking
told by
about
scientists.
his staff or
Yeah. So it seems that the protection from getting symptoms does go down. And then, as he said there, that if you have the 3rd shot, your protection goes back up to 90%. Okay. But back to what we're talking about for people in Taiwan, like, when do we think we're going to be able to travel? Because I can guess that if you want to travel, you have to be fully vaccinated, right?
Yeah, I think Taiwan situation is a little bit delayed from other countries. What happened in other countries, we're gonna delay it for almost a half or 1 year. So maybe next year we are facing the same situation like theirs.
It could be, right?
It could be.
Sure. But do you think, from what you've seen, that 2 vaccine doses is going to be enough?
Since
it doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look
right?
like.
Yeah. Because if they're
so
already doing the 3, saying that they're going to change the definition, I'm guessing that's going to move to a lot of other countries, right?
And look at the European countries. They have like 60 or 70% of the population fully vaccinated, but they still locked down on Christmas.
Sure. And in the same kind of conversation, I know that the UK is talking about a possible plan B. I think they're hoping not to get to it, but I think the plan B is going to be more restrictions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so lockdowns and things, which is happening in other countries already. So this is pretty sad, right?
Like it's never end.
It seems that way.
It's already almost 2 years.
Sure. And there's another sad part, and I think that Boris talked about this as well. So let's have a look at the second clip, and you can tell me what you think.
Mm-hmm.
If you are one of those people, please go and get that 3rd jab, because it would be an utter tragedy if, after everything we've been through, people who had done the right thing by getting double vaccinated ended up becoming seriously ill or even losing their lives because they allowed their immunity to wane by not getting their booster.
Okay. So did you catch what he said there?
No, 100%.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm sure I can find it here as well. Because here it is, right? He said, it would be an utter tragedy if, after everything we've been through, people who had done the right thing by getting double vaccinated ended up becoming seriously ill or even losing their lives because they allowed their immunity to wane.
That's the part I couldn't really understand.
So what that means is, he said, it would be a tragedy, which means it would be really terrible if, after all of this, people who did the right thing, by the right thing means getting 2 vaccines, ended up getting seriously sick or dying.
But they say the last sentence, because they allow their immunity to wane.
To wane, yeah, and that means that they didn't have the booster.
Because they did.
Yeah, so he's saying there that it would be a tragedy if people who got 2 vaccines, and then when the vaccines started to wane, the protection started going down, they didn't have the 3rd and pick it back up.
I mean.
But for me, when I read this, it's very interesting because what it seems to be what he's saying is that it is definitely possible, if you've had 2 vaccine doses, for you to still die or get very sick. And that's why you need the 3rd.
Yeah, because since the vaccine we're gonna going down,
the protection goes down.
When the protection goes down, you probably get serious ill.
Well, I didn't say probably. No, I think that it's possibly. I know in Chinese the word possibly and probably are kind of similar. People I always get in trouble with this one.
Okay.
But possibly. Probably means it will probably happen.
Oh, it's more real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas possibly is kind of
Possibly.
like 50% more.
Right.
Yeah. So we must be careful
Possibly.
for YouTube,
Oh,
right?
right.
Yeah. So I think then that he's saying it'd be really terrible if people who had 2 vaccines didn't get the third and then they got sick. So this is the Prime Minister of the UK talking about this and basically admitting that the protection goes down.
Right.
Which is interesting because a few weeks ago, if you try to talk about this, you would have been banned from YouTube. But now it's not us saying this, it's the Prime Minister of the UK saying it.
Right.
And also saying that people fully vaccinated means getting 3. So I don't know, like I think a lot of people in Taiwan need to know this, right? You need to see what's going on in other countries so that you can think about your own life and when you believe you'll be able to travel again and the plans that you're making. If you're trying to book tickets, I don't know. Well, we need to be aware of this because it seems that this situation is moving. It's quite fluid and it keeps changing week by week.
A lot, yeah.
There's a guy who I think about 2 months ago got banned from Twitter because he said the boosters were coming.
Okay,
He got banned
ban
for
the
misinformation, but now it's happened, and I wonder what's going to happen. I remember his name, Dave Rubin, I think it is.
All right.
Yeah.
But what banned by this? Is
Well,
it
because he said
misinformation?
Boosters were coming, and people said that's not true. It's in misinformation. But now it's happening.
Oh.
So I hope they're going to apologize to that guy. I think it was him. But the point I'm making is that things seem to be changing pretty quickly all the time, which is why we're trying to show you guys about this so that you can at least be informed. Right.
Right. At least we catch up the news and we know what's going on in the world,
Sure.
and we can predict what will happen in our country.
Sure. So I think let's do a little quick summary from what we've talked about so far. We've said, look, in Europe, cases seem to be going up. Cases are going up in places where people have had double vaccinations.
Yeah.
Right. Sadly, really sadly. And some places are putting in more restrictions. Some places are thinking about putting in more restrictions.
Yes.
And the UK Prime Minister has told everybody, and I'm assuming it comes from science, that the protection does go down even after 2, and you're going to need a third. A pretty fair summary, right?
That's according to the news.
According to the news, not according to us. Great. Now, let's shift our discussion to Taiwan, right?
Okay.
So, do you know any news about Taiwan? Like, what's happening in Taiwan? Like, I mean, I know we have 0 cases every day, but I know we have... I check it every day, and I see that we have imported cases coming into Taiwan, right?
Oh, I know that one day, I think it's November 15th, we have 9 cases from other countries.
Is it this one? This is in Chinese, so I'm not 100%... Oh, no, it's translated, but is this the one, November 15th?
Oh, yeah, the new cases.
This one, right?
Yeah, it's they are all fully vaccinated.
It's a breakthrough.
But all breakthrough, and they have different kind of brand, AZ, BNT, Moderna.
Okay.
That's what I...
So November 15th, 9 new cases, all imported, and all people who are double vaccinated.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the current state. But I see that every day we have imported cases. So have you seen if these are breakthroughs or not in general?
Well, lots of news about breakthrough.
So there are quite a few breakthrough cases.
Yeah.
So it's not just this day is what I'm asking.
Not a special case.
Okay. So we currently have breakthroughs in Taiwan. Why do we not have this thing spreading through the population? It must be the quarantine, right?
You mean why we don't have...
Yeah, why is COVID not spreading through Taiwan? Why is life relatively normal, which it is here? Must be the quarantine, right? When you come back to Taiwan...
You have to quarantine for
2
weeks.
Okay. So the quarantine seems then to be pretty important.
Seems like it works.
It's working. But I mean, if we didn't have the quarantine, COVID would be spreading, right?
Maybe because since even they have vaccinated, but if we don't have the quarantine, they probably will go into our community
And spread.
and spread the virus.
And then according to Boris Johnson, if you've had protection but it's maybe been 6 months, your protection's going down, people could be dying, right? It's possible. Okay. So then if we're looking at the state of this thing in Taiwan, we have virus coming into the country, but luckily the government's doing a good job in catching it through the quarantine. But that's interesting because the quarantine is probably the thing that's stopping us from being able to travel.
That's
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good question because lots of my friends they want to go travel. Yeah, for example, like you United States, they already opened the border if you are vaccinated or you got a home test and a PCR test.
Sure.
But some people still won't travel because when you go back to Taiwan, you need to take 2 weeks quarantine.
Sure.
And it's really hard because when you have work and you have children, you have family, so it's not easy to educate.
Sure. So I mean, like that's my reason. Like obviously, I'm not Taiwanese, so I haven't been to see my family. It was my mom's birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Mom! You know,
Happy
but
birthday.
it's kind of hard because I spoke to her yesterday and she said, "When was the last time you were here for my birthday?" It's been ages, but you know, the last 2-3 years, I can't go back because of this quarantine thing. Because what am I going to do with my business?
Yeah.
You know? And
2 weeks.
Yeah, and at
It's
other
really
times I
long.
was worried what would happen. Like maybe they'd close. It didn't happen. But they
close
might
the-
close the border
border,
while I'm
yeah,
out.
yeah,
Then
yeah.
what am I going to do?
Yeah,
right?
that's a serious
Yeah.
consideration.
And like currently, I need to open a bank account in another country. So that country doesn't have an office here.
Oh, right.
So I almost need to travel out to another country. Like I could go to Macau. I could also go to Singapore. But I can't do this because of the quarantine problem.
Yeah, even you just go out for 1 or 2 days, but when you go back, you need like 2 weeks.
But, you know, if I tell you the truth, though, I'm pretty happy for the quarantine.
At least it keep us alive in Taiwan.
Sure. Like when I
Mhm.
look at what we just showed people about what's happening around the world, you know, I just said it this last night. I was talking to my fiance and I was saying, wow, we're so lucky we're in Taiwan.
Yeah,
You know,
true.
we don't really have restrictions. I mean, I got to wear a mask, which is a pain in the ass, but I wear the mask. But apart from that, life's pretty normal. I get to go to work,
Yeah.
go to a restaurant. So I love the quarantine.
Yeah, at least we still can live more like a regular life. We don't have lockdown. We don't have to go back to level 3.
Sure. So then
If-
it seems that this idea that we keep talking about wanting to travel is dependent on the quarantine.
It's
Right.
a little bit inconvenient.
Sure. So
But-
if we want to travel, we need to take away the quarantine.
Take the sacrifice.
But if we want to keep enjoying a relatively normal life, we need the quarantine.
Okay, it sounds reasonable to
Right.
me right now.
So I suppose one of the things that I worry about a little bit is that
If one day,
for someone who
Well-
doesn't really read the news, who doesn't see what we've just said, that person might still believe that if they have 2 vaccines, they're going to be able to just travel, that the government's going to reduce the quarantine. But from my humble opinion, I don't see that happening.
oh, yeah, I see. I can see lots of Taiwanese people have
Think
this
this way.
think like this way.
Sure, and why wouldn't you, right? If you're not looking at the news and you've heard double vaccine, you can travel, you're definitely going to believe that.
Because yeah, it's true because we get information like from other countries, but because their situation changed very fast, like we couldn't catch up.
Sure.
So that's why their thought and mind still like stay like past 6 months ago, I think.
Okay. So then let's change this and let's say, okay, so it's possibly 3 that you need. And then we might be able to release the quarantine. Possibly. Let's just assume because that's what they're saying, 3, right? What is Taiwan currently planning to do with the vaccines? Like what's the idea? What's the plan?
I've heard still like get those percentage high, and they want everyone get mRNA vaccine, at least 1 dose, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, here's a news article that you can see here, and this says Taiwan to discuss guaranteeing 1 mRNA vaccine dose for all. Okay, so I've seen this. I saw it in another one on Yahoo. This is the 9 new cases. Okay, but they're also recommending 1 dose. But now my question is, I mean, I'm not a scientist or anything, but what is 1 dose going to do?
Or what's the mandate? Not mandate. The suggestions reason.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. Yeah, why they want to? They think 1 mRNA vaccine works.
Maybe it's good for people's health. Maybe that's the idea. It's good, some kind of protection. But as Boris told us, after 6 months, it looks like protection goes down. But let's assume that they're saying it for health, not for travel. But we're talking about travel today. So if you look at this from the travel perspective, what is 1 dose going to do? Like if other countries start saying you need to be fully vaccinated, so you need at least 2.
You need at least 3.
And now possibly 3. What does it mean for travel? Because that's our topic. I don't understand how that's going to help. Maybe somebody could comment and explain to me how that will help, but I can't see it.
I think maybe it's not for traveling.
Yeah,
Maybe
sure.
just-
So we can
yeah,
assume
yeah.
that. So that's why they're guaranteeing 1 dose. It's for some health reason.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about travel. I don't understand how this helps for travel.
Yeah.
So then if we go back to our question at the beginning, which is when do we think we're going to be able to travel? What's your best guess?
I don't know. It seems like delay and delay. Like I couldn't see the end.
Okay. You want to know my answer?
All right.
No idea. Like really no idea. So I also want to guide this discussion a little bit, right? Because yesterday, one of my clients is actually in America, and I do sessions with him online. And he was saying to me that he's pretty upset because Taiwan has just done this new policy 7-7, which means that for Chinese New Year, if you come back from overseas, you can spend 7 days in a quarantine hotel and then 7 days at home and do the rest of your quarantine at home. And I don't know all the details, but from what I understand, if you spend the second 7 days at home, you have to stay in your room if there are other people living there. So you just got to lock yourself in your room for a week. So a few things there that are some worry me, some I think are a bit strange. One, he said to me that if you spend 7 days in the hotel or 14 days, the money that you pay is the same.
So people were willing to stay at home.
Yeah, but the money at the hotel.
Yeah.
So if I stay for 7 days or I stay for 14 days, the price is the same.
Oh, that's what.
So he was complaining about that. I thought that was quite strange. And he said as well that this thing is so full that there's only 2 hotels he can find, a good one and a not very good one. And for the reasonably good one, guess how much it would cost for the quarantine per person?
For 1 day?
Total.
Total.
10,000 USD.
USD?
10,000 USD, I think he said
USD?
to me, yeah.
10,000 USD? For
I think it was
For
10,000.
7
I think,
days?
yeah, but he said it's quite a nice hotel.
It's
Yeah.
10,000
I think so.
NT dollars, or I don't know. I didn't check the numbers.
Well, 10,000 NT dollars wouldn't make sense because for 14 days it's less than 1,000 NT dollars per day. So it can't be 10,000. But I think he said 10,000. Yeah. But he did say that was for a nice hotel. I think for the lower hotel it was like 2,000 or 3,000 US.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Which 2,000 would be like 60,000 for 14 days. I don't know. I'm guessing. As I say, he told it to me. I'm not 100% sure the numbers, but it was expensive. Let's leave it there. Right. So firstly, that seems a bit strange. But then when people come back, we know that people still spread this thing, right? So do you think after Chinese New Year, we're going to have more cases?
Possibly.
Because he said that all the quarantine hotels are basically full, which means a lot of people are coming to do this thing. I also don't get that because you spend 2 weeks. How much holiday can a person take? So what do you get? Spend 2 weeks, and maybe if you're lucky, you're going to get the 3rd week, and you can enjoy Taiwan.
Or right.
So I don't get the whole thing. I don't understand why it would be so popular, but it seems to be a little bit strange that because I saw some woman had like this week, I think we had one local case,
Mm-hmm.
but they said it was an old infection, so they caught it, but she'd already been sick for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Like a symmetric patient.
Something like that, yeah. So
Because if you get fever, you don't feel good, you won't go to the
something like that.
public.
But if it's just 1 week and then 1 week at home, and plus that's during Chinese New Year when everybody's at home,
I get what you want.
it
I get
starts
what
to
you mean.
seem to me like a bit of a risky
A
thing,
little.
right?
A
And like I
little
said to you, I
bit,
like the quarantine because it seems to be the thing that's guaranteeing us a normal life here. If you had to choose between a normal life or being able to travel, I'm much more
I tend to normal life.
normal life, right? Travel's just like a bit. Even for me, who's not from Taiwan, who'd love to visit his family, I'd still choose the quarantine if it means life can be like kind of normal.
Oh, all right.
So I don't know. I see
I
this
don't
thing
know.
happening. It seems like a little bit of an issue coming. I hope not. I really hope not. But
Yeah, maybe after Chinese New Year, we're gonna see something different.
I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not.
I hope not. Hopefully, when the people spend the 1 week at home, they monitor them well. But it seems to be a lot of people. So the more people, the harder it is to monitor. But hopefully, they monitor them well, and we could just keep doing what we're doing. Because I think we've hardly had cases for a long time, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet and pretty good.
Yeah, I'm happy with the 0 cases.
Sure.
Alright.
So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Maybe you can leave us a comment or ask us a question or tell us something we don't know.
Yes.
But yeah, when do you think we're going to be able to travel and why?
Yeah, I'm willing to know.
I wanna know
I
too.
have no idea about it.
Me too. No idea. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you enjoyed that information. You know, we did the research for you and yeah, maybe you, as I say, maybe you can see something that we can't.
Yeah.
Should we move to the next
Also.
segment?
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the